What is going on, everybody? It is the Going Over Big Time podcast. I am Mike Charlip, and I'm joined once again by my friend and co-host, Alan the Cantastic. Alan, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing well. I just finished the Amazon Prime animated series Invincible because I kept seeing like ads pop up. I'm like, I gotta say, one of the most violent, like graphic, like superhero cartoons, because this is what it is, that
Uh-huh.
I've ever seen. I'm like,
Yeah.
a standard AEW blood and guts match does not have enough blood to compensate for the amount of blood I saw in this cartoon. And I've just blown through all 4 seasons the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, I love that show. I actually started reading the comics because I love the show so much. I haven't finished the comics, but that is the same people that make Walking Dead. Robert
Oh,
Robert Kirkman. Um, and yeah, it's supposed to be more violent. It's supposed to be more adult oriented, and the comics are just as graphic. It's just
yeah,
this
and
is
it's
a show.
and it's on Prime, so it's a streaming service, so
Yeah.
they could probably get around the PG ratings and all that stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, it has to be on something like that. It's meant to be this graphic.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. But yeah. So I mean, go out of your way if you haven't watched Invincible already. It's 4 seasons in, and there's a lot more story to go there. But today, um, so we're going to talk about a couple of things. One thing, not for as long, um, but there was a big thing that happened that we haven't really gotten to talk about, and I figured we'd talk about it a little because of what it meant to fans as a whole. Um, so the first thing I wanted to talk about was Sami Zayn. So Sami Zayn had this very up and down uh, fan reaction for a while since he won the U.S. title last year. So, I mean, even before that, the fans got super behind him with all the bloodline stuff. And then they didn't really pay that off. And he ended up being the first person to pin Gunther on the main roster by winning the Intercontinental title, even though everybody wanted that to be Chad Gable. So he started to lose a lot of the fanfare that he was getting because of that. And then he, like, out of nowhere, just really started getting more sympathetic, and the fans started getting behind him again, to the point where he was very adamant about becoming the WWE champion, because it was the one thing that he hasn't done yet that he absolutely wants to do. And he was starting to get all sympathetic about it and saying that his son was wondering why he never held that title before and stuff like that. And every time that he would try to win it as a babyface, he would lose. Then he started going for the US title. He won it from Carmelo, and people were not happy about that because nobody wanted him to win the US title. They wanted Carmelo to have a considerable reign and for Sami to do other things like win the world title. So then the fans start to turn on him because they're not happy about him ending Carmelo's reign. So they actually go along with a heel turn, and he defends it against Trick, retains, then defends it against Trick again, and loses. And then just out of nowhere, he's back in the world title picture again, but as a heel. Or in his case, maybe a tweener. And he gets a title opportunity in Saudi Arabia, where he is loved like a lot. And he wins in a triple threat against Cody and Gunther by pinning Cody. And this was a big deal, obviously, because Sami has been in WWE since 2014. And he didn't get into the main roster until 2017. And the prospect of him ever being a world champion was something that seemed very foreign. That nobody would ever expect to happen, really, because he doesn't fit the build of somebody that WWE would get behind in the Vince era or even after the Vince era. But we've seen them get behind people like him, like Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan at the time. And just the fact that he finally won the belt when he was not overly loved by the fans, he was currently being hated by the fans in America, in North America. But in Saudi Arabia, he's a hero. So they decided that that was the best time for him to win the belt. We all thought that that was going to happen at next year's WrestleMania because, unfortunate for, UK fans, next year's WrestleMania is in Saudi Arabia. UK fans still never got in a Mania, but Saudi Arabia is getting one. So they put the belt on him, and he's posting all this stuff online of him like going to the park with his kid, and he's pushing his kid on the swings, and then he's got the belt on the swings, and he's pushing the belt on the swings. And they're doing all this stuff like, oh, he's finally the champion. He's finally, happy that he, achieved his dream and all of that. So then Cody earns another opportunity by beating Jey Uso. Jey Uso, who did not even deserve a shot at an opportunity at the title. So Cody could have just been handed a title shot and it wouldn't have made a difference. And then we get to Raw in Chicago. And there's a certain Chicago native who we have not seen since the day after WrestleMania. CM Punk. Cody Rhodes gets taken out by Gunther. So CM Punk gets thrown into the title match in Chicago. But remember, Cody had to quote unquote earn a title opportunity, while CM Punk just got handed one. And then CM Punk wins 9 days after Sami won the title. So naturally, this received mixed reactions because there's still people out there that love CM Punk to the level that they always have. I used to love CM Punk to that level. I don't anymore. But the people who've supported Sami since day one are very unhappy because CM Punk just went away for a while after losing a title. His last match was him losing a title. And he disappears for 4 months and then just comes back 3 months, technically 3 months. Disappears for 3 months, and his first match back is a random title match that belonged to Cody. And he wins. And Sami gets labeled a transitional champion after only holding the belt for 9 days. I don't like this booking solely because I am not fond of the transitional champion thing. I know it's not new. It's something that WWE and all wrestling companies have done for decades at this point. There are some notable ones like Iron Sheik, Ivan Koloff, Stan Stasiak, Mankind, The Miz. But yeah, I just think that Sami deserves better. He could have held the belt until SummerSlam, but it felt like they only put the belt on him to give the fans of Saudi Arabia a moment, because WWE loves those, and then just take it away. And they basically manufactured, without even telling us, oh, SummerSlam's going to be Cody versus CM Punk. But now it doesn't seem like that's even the case, because time of recording, we're recording this on July 17th after SmackDown, where they announced that on Saturday night's main event taking place on July 18th, Gunther and Sami are teaming together to face the team of Cody and CM Punk. And if Gunther and Sami win, then they're in the title match at SummerSlam. Therefore, making it ridiculous that if they win, that Sami had to lose the belt.
Oh my god. Okay. Can I respond?
Of course.
Because at this point, like I don't know. I like all this build up and the narration you gave it makes it sound even worse than the way I felt like this whole thing was done. First of all, I feel like anytime they book a Saudi Arabia show, they just book it in a way that is just separate from any sort of semblance of a main storyline on the main roster of WWE. You know, I'm trying to remember, like even the Greatest Royal Rumble, when they first started this whole arrangement with Saudi Arabia, they had this weird thing called I can't pronounce the name of it, the Tulak Trophy. And it was like this battle royal, and then the winner was like gonna get this trophy. Mm-hmm. And then the Undertaker ends up winning it, even though the Undertaker hadn't been an active guy for years by the time they got to Saudi Arabia. So it was like, what was the point of that? This one, it stings a little because it's just so sad because like, yeah, Sami Zayn, let's remember, he was not allowed to be in Saudi Arabia when they first began this whole 10-year deal, right? Because of like, Sami has like, outside of his wrestling, has a nonprofit supporting Syrian aid to Syria, and there was a whole big thing between Syria and Saudi Arabia. But I think, diplomatic relations improved, and I guess Sami like was welcomed back. He got like, I would say, the highlight of Sami's Saudi Arabia run would have been his trip to Mecca, which I understand very important for many Muslims, right? They just got like, oh yes, Sami's in Saudi Arabia, he's gonna get a big pop with his people. I mean, he did, but it just seemed like so out of place because as you said, he was not a full-on babyface. He was not as red hot as he was a few years ago when he was facing Roman Reigns in the Elimination Chamber in Montreal, his hometown.
Yeah.
And you'd expect, like, you listed some examples of transitional champions. Mankind, my recollection, remember, he and The Rock had a series of just absolutely brutal, hardcore matches that if you go back and look at these, you swear to God, like, this is where Mick Foley's, like, brain damage started because he was like this was like sort of like Sunday Night Heat. They were just fighting in the bleachers when nobody was in the arena. So Mick Foley's time as champion may have been short, but it was marked by substantial defenses and people remember them to this day. You talked about The Miz. I know you don't really like The Miz, but let's remember he beat John Cena at WrestleMania, defending that title as far as I can remember.
Yeah, but his second reign.
His second one was his second one was not as it was a transition, definitely, because he He took it off Randy Orton, and then he basically lost it to
Lost
Bobby.
it to Lashley 8 days later.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
you're right. That was the most recent example. There
See,
are transitional champions in other companies that have worked. We've just seen Darby Allin pull off in just a space of a month. What, 12, 9, 10 defenses? Like every
Yeah.
week, it was like
Yeah,
you had
and
people all over the place praising him, but this was one of the best, probably one of the most substantial championship runs, no matter how short it was.
yeah,
From people that usually do not praise Darby Allin, at least in storyline. But it was just like I look at this and I was just like, Sammy spent all like 20 plus years grinding the way, and if he finally gets the big championship, the main championship, and my best memory of it was him taking it to the park with his son and driving around in his car, and then losing it to CM Punk. Very sad. As for the CM Punk bit, it's just like, wow, man. This is not, they want to say the summer of Punk. No, this is the 2026 summer of Punk. This is not 2011 summer of Punk. When the 2011 Punk would not have condoned at all what 2026 Punk just did here. Nope. It is like Hulk Hogan style creative control. Just like when you brought up the underdog, you just gotta bring back the old ass man from the 80s to have another championship run, his umpteenth run at the title. I'm not saying Punk is anywhere to the length of Hogan's tenure during the time of the man's life, but it's just like, what? Because it's Chicago? Like, oh, come on. I mean,
and that's like the main thing. Like, oh, because it's Chicago, we gotta. Just because the fans in Chicago were chanting his name throughout the night, and we all knew, and that's another thing that we've talked about a lot. I hate WWE's over exaggeration of acting like we don't know who the person is. Like, Michael Cole is like sitting there like, oh, who's it gonna be? And then when we find out who it is, even though the crowd itself was telling us who it was going to be the whole entire night, Michael Cole acts like he is so surprised that CM Punk showed up in Chicago just because we haven't seen him in 3 months. Oh, let's not forget, CM Punk fucking lives in Chicago. So of course he's going to be there. Like, and you mentioned Hulk Hogan. Like, a lot of people are comparing this to when he just barged into the building at WrestleMania 9 when he was on the outs, really, and Bret had just lost the title to Yokozuna and was supposed to be the person that takes it off Yokozuna. But Hulk Hogan decided that he wanted another run, and he didn't want to do the job to Bret Hart. So he took the belt from Yoko at WrestleMania right after Bret lost it, and lost it back to Yoko 2 months later. And then he was never seen in WWE again until 2002. And it's getting comparisons to that because CM Punk just barged into the building, took the title shot that didn't belong to him when, like you said, he would never do that. If this was 2011, he would want to earn it. He would want to prove himself that he deserves to have that title shot. That's why everybody is calling this CM Punk a hypocrite, because he's doing exactly what he criticized WWE of doing with The Rock in 2011. You just went away for 3 months and then you just took the title. And Sammy will probably never win it again. And if he does, it probably won't be anytime soon because they're just going to put that shit back on Cody. Because we know that's what they're going to do. Because they're not going to put it on Gunther either. But also, I don't have faith in them actually putting Sammy and Gunther in the title match at SummerSlam because of Gunther's ongoing quote unquote issues with Nick Aldis.
Yeah, you just mentioned something that's very significant. See, they mentioned the stipulation. Gunther and Sammy as a team, they have to win the match in order to be added to the fatal four way. Not whoever can get the pin on either Cody or Punk will be added to the match. So you see, if Gunther gets like shenanigans heaped on him by say Nick Aldis of all people, then they cost both Gunther and Sammy. See, if like, let's say the scenario is Nick Aldis comes out and basically starts wailing on Gunther and just they start brawling backstage. Sammy's left alone with Cody and Punk. Somehow there's a miscommunication. Sammy hits a haluva kick on CM Punk and gets the pin. Then Sammy could be added in the match. But no, it has to be both. See, yeah, but see if that happened, then that means Gunther has to be added in the match. Yeah. So you take out the whole thing about like Nick Aldis factor. Like, what was the point of that, right? What was the point of Gunther choking out his boss, for like 15 minutes? What would be the point of the scenario I just laid out, where Nick Aldis costs Gunther the match? So this is as interesting as I would like a Fatal 4-Way at SummerSlam, and unfortunately, we're not going to get that. We're probably just going to get God knows what. CM Punk dropping to Cody, CM Punk retaining. Doesn't matter at this point. Our point is they just seem to go back to like the same guys over and over.
Yeah. And SummerSlam is not, and we're not going to stay on this any longer, really.
Yeah,
I just wanted to add, like, SummerSlam is not selling well, mainly because everybody is tired of the main events being exactly the same. The two big matches on this show are going to be Cody versus Punk and Roman versus Seth. Everybody is tired of those four people in particular being in the main event scene. It doesn't matter the combination. And that's why SummerSlam is not selling well, because nobody cares right now. And neither does WWE, apparently. But that's not new. So I feel bad for Sammy, because they could have at least let him defend the belt once. And like you said, you mentioned Darby Allin's reign. That's the perfect example of what they could have been doing. Like, I wasn't expecting Sammy to win the belt and then defend it on every single show like Darby did. That's not going to happen. But at least defend the belt once or twice and maybe hold it until SummerSlam.
Yeah, defend it once successfully, and then you could throw, you don't like screwy finishes, but yeah, you could do a screwy finish where Gunther comes out and just gets mad because he didn't get the title shot, and then he just costs everybody, and then you just make it all a mess, and then see what the conclusion is at SummerSlam. Do the Fatal 4-Way like that, but unfortunately, maybe we'll just conclude here. WWE booking these days is not led by one person writing the script. It's led by 20 plus writers, plus their corporate overlords, plus whatever stakeholders that are involved, or stockholders are involved. Mm-hmm. So it's just become like this one big conglomerate mess. And I don't know, man. I feel for the people who are just trying to wrestle and have a good match.
Yeah, and just to add this in passing, I mean, they tried to make Sheamus take a pay cut, and look what happened. And I mean, a lot of people are going the New Day route, and I'm not surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to be a lot more of the older people. I mean, Sheamus is almost 50. So, but yeah, I feel bad for everybody involved, really. Not CM Punk. I don't feel bad for him. All right. So we'll see what happens. I guess SummerSlam is a couple of weeks away. And I don't have high hopes. Shocker, I know. Something I do have high hopes for on a very different level is AEW All In. And All In is back to its regular time of year in August. We took a detour last year and had it in July because that was the only time they could book that arena. And they couldn't book Wembley last year because of a concert. So I decided that we usually do fantasy booking for Forbidden Door, and that has become impossible because you never know who's going to be there. And half the time, it's got like 5 different just AEW matches and some New Japan people thrown in. So that's why we haven't been doing that the past couple of years. And I decided that since we usually do fantasy booking for WrestleMania, it only makes sense to do it for All In too. So that's what we are going to do now. I put a card together that on paper, to me, I think makes a lot of sense. But again, whenever we do this stuff, I'm lucky maybe to get 1 or 2 correct. I mean, 2 of these matches obviously are already kind of set in stone, and I don't think they're going to change. So I had to put them down anyway. But obviously, I didn't predict these. We've been predicting them for the past couple of months, and they kind of are just happening. But also, I don't have high hopes for Redemption, unfortunately. I think the match will look good on paper, and the matches will be good, but we know that every one of those matches is going to be very predictable, and I don't think that this was the right time to just randomly throw in a July pay-per-view. That really
I mean, I appreciate them giving some love to Canada, even though it's Montreal. We just mentioned Montreal, but I'm not sure why we need this pay-per-view. So yeah, it's a nice filler, and unfortunately the thing we predicted kind of last time, I don't know if we said it on a pod, that Kenny Omega was going to face MJF for the title at Redemption and win it in Montreal, but that didn't happen. They jumped the gun a little early because I guess
they made that happen sooner because I guess MJF needs some time off. I think he might be filming something.
Max needs a vacation again.
Maybe he'll finally go on his honeymoon. I don't know.
Well, okay.
More than likely he's working, just not wrestling. So, we'll see what happens, obviously, at Redemption. But so I put together a card. I think I have 13 matches. All In last year had 12 matches, and I think 3 of them were on the pre-show. So I don't know how any of these are going to end up on the pre-show, but we'll see, I guess. And again, I don't know if I'll be right, but we'll see. We'll talk about the main events at the end, even though they're kind of pretty much set in stone, but it just makes sense to talk about them at the end. The first match that I have, and I could see this happening before the pay-per-view and even like in some kind of special Dynamite or something, but I put it down just because it makes sense to have it on here, I think. It's a 10-man tag? Yeah, 10-man tag. It's the entire Bang Bang Gang taking on a Death Riders and Dogs team. I put Claudio and Pac just because it makes sense, and all of the dogs, all 3 of them. It seems like this is where we're going. I don't think that they're just going to just put a David Finlay versus Jay White match on here. They could also do that at Redemption if they want, I guess. Because who knows? But I have a feeling that this will be going on for a little while. They're not just going to blow this off at Redemption. And I think it just makes sense to have like a big 5-on-5 match. And Claudio and Pac just make the most sense to put with the dogs, since the dogs and the Death Riders are just friends all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, Gabe is in
Yes.
both. Gabe is in both.
Yeah. Yep.
And they all hate the Bang Bang Gang. And the Death Riders are heels when fighting the Bang Bang Gang. Only when fighting the Bang Bang Gang. But yeah, I just thought this made the most sense. Like, if they decide to blow this off by then, I mean, I imagine, like I said, I imagine it'll still be going on by All In. And that just makes the most sense, and you get all of these guys on the card. This is a match that they would probably end up putting on the pre-show if it did happen, I think. Because, I mean, remember last year we had FTR versus the Outrunners on the pre-show of All In last year, which is crazy. And then we just had some random 10-man tag with Big Boom AJ. So, spoilers, I did not put Big Boom AJ on my card. Sorry, not sorry.
Okay.
So yeah, do you think something like that will happen at All In?
So Death Riders, all three of the dogs, and then first is the Bang Bang Gang.
Yeah.
So that's Oh, right. Now they're 5 people again. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, the thing about between David Finlay and Jay White, it played out in New Japan. There's not enough of a North American audience that will understand like the dynamic of what happened there. Right now, the most interesting thing is that the Bang Bang Gang are trying to put up dogs for adoption that are also named Clark and David or Finley, which are real dogs that are being put up for adoption.
Yes.
Yeah, they're making a bit of a joke out of this too. So it's not as though it's like there's almost no. There's almost no reference to like prior Bullet Club connections. Almost like it's almost like they just revamped both factions, which I mean they did. Yes. I mean Bang Bang Gang, the dogs, like they're just splinter groups from the original Bullet Club.
Correct.
Yeah, this could be a fun match. Like I would squeeze this in and like somewhere in the just before the main event, but kind of in the middle as like one of those.
Yeah, well, like I said, I can even see it on the pre-show. I can even see it on the pre-show.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, it's possible. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I just don't think that there's enough there. I mean, to put any of these guys in a title match or.
Yeah, and also for All In London, you want to put in 2 guys from, I guess, that part of the world, like, and that would be Pac, Claudio, Gabe Kidd.
Yeah.
Jay White's from New Zealand, but he's like,
yeah,
there's enough sort of English relation there to.
David Finlay is Irish, but he's raised in Atlanta.
Basically, yep. There's not a lot going on there,
but yeah,
okay.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think this match has a good chance of happening, but I could be wrong. All right. So the next match is kind of so Tekla, who's she's the current women's champion, but as we've talked about in the past, and based on what's going to happen at Redemption, I don't think she's going to be the champion once Redemption is over. But she has earned an opportunity to still be on this card with everything that she has done this year. And she is still technically feuding with Stardom. Because she, went after Stardom with Forbidden Door. We talked about that after everything that she went through with Stardom. And now her and the Triangle are in Japan and are doing stuff over there. So I think that her thing with Stardom is not over. And I think
didn't they get announced for like the they're gonna face like some trio team for like some Stardom version of
the Artist of Stardom Championship.
Right.
And Julia is going to be in their G1, which is called the 5-Star Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's not. It's very clear that this thing with Stardom is not over between Tekla and the Triangle of Madness. So I think what makes the most sense is that they have to have somebody from Stardom come to AEW to put a stop to Tekla. And I put down two possible names. The first one is Shuri. We've seen Shuri in AEW a bunch. She was in the Gauntlet last year at All In, and she's faced Athena a bunch and stuff like that. The other name that I have down, which I think would be a big surprise if they decided to do it, is Kyrie. Because Kyrie's non-compete will be up in time for this match, for this show, as is another team that we are going to talk about later. So that's why I think that they should have this match, some kind of match like this, where they have like a big name or a big face from Stardom come to All In to put a stop to Tekla and end her beef with Stardom, to defend Stardom against Tekla. And Tekla's definitely earned something big on this show. And I think that would be good for fans of both companies.
Yeah, I thought of a match just now, and depends on like if it's possible. So Tommaso Ciampa is gonna face Painmaker Chris Jericho at Redemption.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say Jericho goes over on that one because he lost to Ciampa at least twice now.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Ciampa is gonna go to All In and issue some kind of open challenge. Anybody, anywhere, whatever, one of those deals. And then we're gonna hear like some very ominous Irish battle song.
Uh-huh.
And then one Stephen Farrelly, whatever he chooses to call himself, will emerge as the Celtic Destroyer to accept that open challenge.
I mean, that
now,
would
my
be
understanding, Sheamus is gone basically. He didn't renew a contract. It just expired. There's no non-compete as far as I know.
Nope.
But yeah, Sheamus, formerly known as Sheamus, Stephen Farrelly, right from next door from Ireland, will face Tommaso Ciampa in probably what Jim Ross would call a slobber knocker. They'll probably bring Jim Ross out just to commentate on this match.
Well, if he can make the trip.
If he can make the trip. So, but nevertheless, I think Sheamus, Farrelly versus
Sheamus
Farrelly versus Tommaso Ciampa. We never seen. I don't recall us seeing that in the Fed. So hopefully we can get something like that.
I mean, I could totally see that happening. I actually have both of those guys in a match on my card.
Oh, okay, okay.
So we'll talk about that right now.
Okay.
So I imagine that they're going to keep doing what they did last year, which is have the gauntlet matches for a future world title match. Like last year they had a men's and women's casino gauntlet.
Gauntlet, okay.
Yeah, for a future world title match. So we'll talk about the men's right now. So pretty much, I put a bunch of names down. I obviously can't guarantee any of these people will be in it or not. I kind of just put the bigger names on this in AEW that I don't think will have anything really going on in the match. And the people that I put down were Yuta and Garcia, Bandito, Brody, Ciampa, Jericho, Mystico, a returning Samoa Joe, all the Rascals, Mark Briscoe, Jack Perry, Andrade, and the returning Buddy Matthews, who just got cleared, and Sheamus. Again, last year the match had 14 entrants. So
Yep.
it's not out of left field that there could be like 14 to 16 participants. So like I said, I just put down a bunch of guys that I don't have anything for. I imagine Samoa Joe will come back for All In. I imagine, like, what's Mark Briscoe going to be doing? Really? Like, the Rascals just deserve to be there. Mystico, of course. Jericho and Ciampa, I imagine, like, if their feud is not over, it makes sense to put them in here. Yuta and Garcia, nothing really going on. Bandito and Brody, nothing really going on. And because Bandito's not going to win the international title. Sorry. And yeah, I think Buddy Matthews will finally make his return. I hope. And yeah, Sheamus, maybe if he is coming through, could debut in this match like Ricochet did in the past. So yeah, I mean, obviously they could have anybody in this match. I just put down a list of names that I would like to see in it. And even if it was that list of names that I mentioned, the person that I would probably want to win would probably be Brody out of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even Ciampa, it would be cool if Ciampa won, but it's not like he hasn't challenged for the world title before. Not Jericho, not Samoa Joe, not Mark Briscoe. Oh, Andrade. Andrade, that's the winner. If Andrade's in it, he's winning. Absolutely, because he's been saying he wants the world title. So, yeah. Do you have any names that you would like to see in the Casino Gauntlet if they do it again this year?
Did you mention Lio Rush?
Oh, that's who I forgot. I didn't write him down.
I can't not put Lio Rush in anything
I
now.
forgot
just,
to write. I should have put
need
him
a
down.
regular dose of it's fine, rain.
Yeah. I completely forgot about him, but I meant to put him down and I didn't.
Oh God! You know what would be funny during the Casino Gauntlet match when she just stops and just start going the rain, and then
Yeah.
actual rain starts coming down from the ceiling of like black goo, of like some black shit, and people and the people in the rain are like, what the hell's going on? Some of them are slipping and falling down.
That is some 2017 Bray Wyatt shit right there.
And Leo has this rainbow umbrella protecting himself.
Well, as long as it's not a projection on the mat, I think we're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes a lot of sense to put Leo in there if they do. He's not going to win, obviously, but it would be cool to have him in there. All right, and now I guess the women's. Again, I kind of put down a bunch of names that I think probably won't have a lot going on, but I tried to put as many as like there was last year, which I think was like close to 12 or 13 or whatever. So I put down Julie and Sky, Anna and Ty, Athena, Maya World, Hyann, Harley Cameron, Marina Shafir, Persephone, Thunder Rosa, if we're lucky, a returning Britt Baker, but who knows at this point. I mean, we know that she exists. She did the Ice Bucket Challenge, and she's around doing stuff. Mm-hmm. And she mentioned wrestlers in that video that she works with.
Okay.
So I would just love for her to come back finally, but who knows? And I threw in a stardom name. I put in Starlight Kid, but who knows? I mean, we saw Starlight Kid at Forbidden Door, so I just thought it would be cool to have her in there. So yeah, I mean, like, out of all of these people, if I were to pick somebody out of these people to win, it would probably be Marina, just because I want Marina to win something. She always loses. She loses all the time.
Mm.
I mean, Athena won the gauntlet last year, and she didn't win the belt. So, I don't know if she's going to lose the. If she loses the ROH Women's World Title to Maya World at Death Before Dishonor, which is taking place on my birthday, because I think we called that last show. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. Athena could win this again, but I would want somebody else to win it. Is there any other names that you would throw in there?
I kind of want to see Nyla Rose back. I don't know
Yeah.
what like you mentioned Britt Baker. Like what the hell is Nyla Rose doing? Like Nyla Rose has she's got some good like charisma and she's got some like stuff that she should. There's a lot of potential there, and she was the like second AEW Women's World Champion, and like
well, it's
from way
funny
back
because
then.
if you remember, like within the first 3 years of AEW's
Mhm.
existence, like people were getting tired of her, and now people want her to come back. Like more than anything, she hasn't been on TV in 2 years.
Yeah, it's probably one of those things where like she was on TV so much, people like were getting tired of her. But then once they took her out, people were like, "Oh, we miss you, Nyla. When are you coming back?" This is
and
like,
she's not, and it's not like she doesn't want to come back. It's the same. I think it's the same thing with Britt Baker. She's just not being booked, and she's doing. I mean,
you're not sure what to do with her at this point.
she's working indies. She's working like Marigold shows. So who knows? I mean, it would be cool if she came back in this as well. All right. The next match, I think we've been talking about it for months at this point. It's a foregone conclusion. I think it's fucking happening. It's the Women's World Tag Team Championship match, the Divine Division versus the Brawling Birds. There's no possible way that this match is not happening.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
like finally, about time.
We've been talking about it for months. The Brawling Birds have not lost a match, and they have not challenged for the titles because they're
still trying to find themselves. They're trying to get what's the right sequence of like things during our barroom brawls. Like okay, Jamie, are you floating that guy over there? And then like Alex, what are you doing over here? And it's kind of like the bar like between Sheamus and Cesaro back then. Like they beat the crap out of each other, and then they just like decided to call a truce and just stop and then just part ways, and then they realize, oh wait, we like fighting. So
yeah,
it's kind of like, I feel like it's kind of like that.
Hell of a promo last week where they were talking about being back together, and then they started crying because England lost the World Cup. They were so close.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. By the time this is out, well, the final will be happening. It's Spain versus Argentina. I think the entire world is rooting for Spain, but
oh, okay. I mean, I don't mind Argentina, but you know,
well, it's only because
it's Messi. Oh, right, Messi. Lionel Messi is like.
Well, I'm not a big football fan, but I think it's because Argentina won the last one, and nobody wants to see them win again. But yeah, regardless of that, the Brawling Birds. This match is happening. I think we could set this one in stone. I think it's happening, and the Brawling Birds are winning.
Yeah, obviously. Let's just say if this match is happening, which we're highly likely will, it's got to pay off for the hometown team, right? Like they always do this, and it's in London. Yeah. Where else are you going to do this?
Yeah, exactly. We've waited this long to have this match when we could have just had this match already. And you could have had the Brawling Birds coming into London as the champions. But I don't think that anything else needs to be said. This match is happening. The next match that I have down, and they're kind of planting seeds for this right now, and for some reason they're also including the Lethal Swirl as well. It's a trios championship match, the Conglomeration versus the Demand. I think what they're with Ricochet enlisting Jay Lethal, Lee Johnson, and Blake Christian to help him and possibly also have them join the Demand, which he said last week. Which I think what they're going to probably do is have the Conglomeration defend against the Demand here, and then at Redemption they'll defend against the Lethal Swirl and win, and then they'll actually challenge the Demand at All In. The Demand will challenge them.
Okay. So sorry. The Conglomeration will
defend against the Swirl at Redemption.
Lethal Twist. Okay, the Swirl Redemption. Okay.
Yes,
and then face the Demand at All In.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that makes the most sense, and the Demand will probably win if that's the case. I like the Conglomeration trio: Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, and Kyle O'Reilly as the champions, but they also don't defend them very often. And when they do, it's just against some random guys.
Somehow this is a trios team of Mystico and like Voldemort from the CMLL, and then like
Volador,
what a Volador, and then like whatever Commander.
What's that other guy's name? Mascara Dorada.
Yeah.
L Sky Team.
There you go.
But yeah, I just think this match makes sense. And because I don't see any other trios going for the belts right now. With Ricochet planting the seeds, I guess it just makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, the next match. I don't know if this match is going to happen, but mainly because I don't know what's going on with either guy. But I just felt like it made the most sense to put this here just because they got to pay this off somehow. It's MJF versus Hangman again. I mean, like MJF, like we said, is going to be gone for a while. I assume he'll be back in time to start building to All In, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And Hangman just randomly came back on Collision in Virginia and declared that he is excited to see what his road is like when he can't challenge for the world title anymore.
Yeah, and he listed like literally 4 options. I mean, he can literally go for any other titles and probably build it to a point where he's won every title in AEW.
Yeah. Hey,
I mean, once you've got at least he's now a 2-time AEW World Champion. So you've already covered the top title in the company. Like, just make every other title.
And he's been tag champ.
Yours. Yeah. He's been a tag champ. He's been a trios champion.
You know what would have been really good to have right now? A unified championship.
You're still on this. Like, we could just do another episode about what the fuck happened to the unified title, right? But here's the thing: you talk about like MJF and Hangman. You know, it's interesting. Hangman comes back as soon as Max loses a title and basically takes another month off. It's like they're deliberately keeping those two apart. It's almost like at Revolution. The big payoff was that it was like Max beats Hangman in his own match, the Texas Death. Basically bars him from challenging for the world title ever again. Like they have, I mean, at that point, it's almost like if I was Hangman, I don't really blame Max for that because Max just beat him. He didn't in a sense, Max himself did not. Did he or did he not really? At the end of the day, it was Hangman's decision to put up his chance to compete for the world title ever again. Yeah. He could have said no. Max gave him a choice, right? And like it's not like Max cheated. It's a Texas death match. You're supposed to do whatever it takes.
And it's also not written in stone anywhere. It's not even on a piece of paper.
Yeah,
it's Hangman's word.
Yeah, Hangman said himself. It's not some signed contract in Tony Khan's filing cabinet in his office. It's just what he said. So you have to do it in a way that, and I guess that's a stipulation. If they do this match at All In, if you Max will come back and say, look, if you beat me, Hangman, you can your previous promise can be rescinded or something.
Yeah, they can do that. I think it's also very possible that down the line, Hangman turns heel again and just goes against
that
his
would
word.
be that would be the more interesting way to like bring that back, right?
Yeah.
But right now, I don't see a Max versus Hangman match. To be honest, even though it may be a very good match, it could be a match of the year candidate. I don't know what the backstory is, and that's the only hindrance to me to have
No, I
that
get it.
on your fantasy card.
Well, my struggle was trying to figure out what MJF does, if not the world title or facing Hangman again, because I mean he could face Andrade, I guess.
So so Max should be upset that Ospreay cost him basically the world title because he took the Dynamite Diamond ring from him. But we can't use Ospreay in this situation because we're talking about All In. If this was Redemption, it'd be easier.
Yeah.
I feel like if we need an alternative from facing Hangman, it would be someone like, I don't know, Kevin Knight or even Andrade.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, it'd be more interesting if I see a freeway between Max, Kevin Knight, and Andrade for the TNT title. Because at this point, right now Andrade is not in Don Callis family anymore. Andrade wants some gold, except for the fact that I think he's going to win the national title of Mark Davis.
Yeah.
I have to probably think of another match for Andrade.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you do with MJF otherwise. Right. I mean, like you said, it might even make the most sense to have him have a match with Andrade on this show, but I mean that would probably be an amazing match, and they've never had a singles, so I mean that could also be a thing. But I put down Hangman just because I think that they need to have a just a payoff, but we'll see. I do have something big for Kevin Knight also. All right, so the next match, I guess we'll talk about that now. So Kevin Knight so he's going to be challenging for the world title at Redemption. He was in line for a big push, even though he is the TNT champion. And I mean, he's not going to beat Kenny Omega. We know he's not going to. But I mean, that's going to be a great match, despite the fact that it's another champion versus champion match. I don't think Kevin is going to win that match. And he's got this ongoing thing with Darby. He's defending the TNT title against Darby before Redemption.
Oh, okay.
On the upcoming Dynamite. And I think there's going to be some kind of screwy finish there with the Don Callis family. So that's why I booked them into a rematch on this show in Darby's specialty match, a coffin match. I don't think this feud is going to be over. Darby is gonna, unless Darby wins on Wednesday, which I don't think he will, because like I said, there will be some kind of Don Callis family shenanigans. So he'll probably get involved in the world title match at Redemption to make sure that Kevin doesn't win. And then the feud will continue to the point where they have to have some kind of match where there's no rules. And in Darby's match is the coffin match. And I just think it makes sense. I don't know who wins. I think it could go either way, but I do think that they have the payoff at All In. Your thoughts?
Darby versus Kevin Knight in a coffin match
for the TNT
for the TNT title. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, that's enticing. My other thought was actually, yeah, I'll put Darby in there somewhere between like, oh wait, you know what? I'm thinking of someone else. Oh, this is all in. Because I was thinking like at Redemption, Kevin Knight would face Mike Bailey for the TNT title because Mike Bailey is from Montreal,
Yeah.
and that's a little bit that's a bit complicated. Like, do you give Mike the big hometown pop, or do you
Well,
not? Because you want to
unless
save it for this, what you just suggested, right?
unless
So,
Kevin's going to work twice at Redemption, I don't see the TNT title match on Redemption. So,
oh right, okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, at this point, they do need to some. I mean, there's the existing storyline there. Kevin Knight attacked Darby after he lost the world title.
mhm.
Well, and then there's all that stuff of the exploding backpack
And the exploding skateboard.
and the exploding skateboard, which hit Brian Cage more than anything else. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's got to be some payoff there. But sure.
Yeah. All right. The next match is a match that I really want to see. And I think it makes a lot of sense with the stuff that we're going to talk about in the main event. So Will Ospreay, of course, won the Owen Hart Cup to earn his shot at the world title by beating Swerve Strickland. And we've kind of been wondering, what is Jon Moxley doing in the background with his title? Well, I think because of Will Ospreay's ongoing association with the Death Riders, that it just makes sense to have Jon Moxley versus Swerve Strickland.
Mm.
John, of course, is going to have always has a big match on these shows. Swerve Strickland is better than ever, and I think this is a match that everybody would love to see. And yeah, I mean, with the connection to everything, with the Death Riders and Swerve's hatred for them, and his association with Will in the past and present, and all of that, I think it just makes sense that this is the match for Jon Moxley on this show. And I would love to see it because they're two of my favorite wrestlers in the world right now. Jon Moxley is an all-timer favorite of mine. Swerve is becoming an all-time favorite of mine. So I think this would be a hell of a match. And Continental rules, no interference, just an amazing match.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts?
Do you think John would drop the title to Swerve?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I think it's time too because John's had this title since what, last December or something. I lost track.
Since the last Continental.
The last Continental Classic, which was like December, basically. Yeah. It's been a long time.
Yeah. And it's it's a match I want to see this match. This is a match that I'm excited to see at some point, and I think that with everything that's going on right now, with the way the way the tournament ended with that match of the year candidate, everything that Will's going through right now with the Death Riders, and I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I would hope that if Swerve does win the title and they do the Continental Classic again, they do something where when they do the Continental Classic again, that the winner just doesn't get the title, that they do some kind of other stipulation. I don't know what that would be, but
we mentioned that unified title that previously existed.
Yeah.
I would just think of a way to just get the international champion, whoever it is at the time, into the tournament,
Yeah.
and then somehow, whatever happens, the finals will be whoever's the holder of the continental title and the international title, and then finally you get the unified title again. But this time you make it permanent.
Yes.
It is a second AEW World Title that you can defend outside the company, but also has continental rules applied to it.
Yep.
And every, I don't know, like Continental Classic, you can keep it and just put up a title shot as the winner's prize.
Yep.
Because
I hope
putting
they
the
do.
title,
I hope they do that. I really do.
At this point, they might need to rename this damn thing. It's Continental Classic. It's like, it's kind of meh. It's almost like the All Atlantic Championship, which at some point they had to change the name of that.
That lasted a whole like 5 minutes.
No, Pac and like Orange had that name on it for a bit, and then it changed, and then
So yeah, we'll see what happens, but yeah, that is a match that I am very excited to see down the line, and no better place to have it than at All In. All right, so we're basically into like the big ones now. This match I think is very much being teased in the past couple of weeks with everything that's been going on with the international title. Of course, Kyle Fletcher just won the international title, mainly because Takeshita's going to be away doing the G1, so somebody else needed to hold the belt. But when he comes back, he just got taken out by Okada and Kyle Fletcher. And then Okada and Kyle Fletcher kind of had a little bit of a moment there where they had a tug of war on the belt after taking out Takeshita. And so I think that was the early seeds being planted for this match, a triple threat. Kyle Fletcher versus Konosuke Takeshita versus Kazuchika Okada for the international title. I think we've been building to this. I think a lot of us thought we were going to get Fletcher versus Takeshita just as a singles on All In, but the fact that they already did that on the Beach Break Dynamite, that was a hell of a match. That's also a match of the year candidate, if you ask me. And yeah, I mean, the ongoing inclusion of what's going on with Okada, obviously he hates Takeshita, and now he's kind of planting seeds of dissension between him and Kyle over the international title. Because he wants it back, but Kyle has it. So yeah, I just think that I would not be surprised if this match did not take place. Like, this match seems like it's happening. And yeah, I would hope. My hope is that if this match does happen, that Kyle will officially be done with the Don Callis family after it's over. Especially if Okada wins. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this could go either way, to be honest. Maybe less so with Takeshita because he just had the title. Yeah, this is going to be very interesting because I like triple threat dynamics, but there's not been one where all three guys, or at least two of the three guys, are in the same faction.
Mm-hmm.
And you expect like those two to team up and stuff, but it's like, how long would that go on? Like, the storyline is always, okay, can they coexist? No, because they both want the title.
Yeah.
That they, you think this is not a co-championship because you can only have one person hold it. So
yeah, exactly.
Something's gonna break down at some point, and you'd think that would advantage Takeshita. Maybe it gives a bit of an opening there.
Yeah.
And if like Yeah, I'm thinking like if Takeshita wins the title back, then Kyle's resentment is more still geared towards Takeshita, but you have to make it somehow. I feel like a screwdriver is going to be involved. I feel like Don Callis is going to be involved.
Of course.
He's just like Don's commentary is going to be so hilarious. It's just like it was tough enough between Takeshita versus Okada. Now he's got to do it with two guys instead of just one guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, who does he want? And then who does Don help, if anybody? Does he just not even get in the ring at all? Does he throw the screwdriver to the wrong guy? Does he throw it to Okada when he meant it to give it to Kyle?
Yeah.
And then that might be the catalyst of Kyle just like getting fed up with the Don Callis family because they are screwing him over.
Well, and you also, we never actually went back to remember when Kyle was meant to use the screwdriver in the Continental Classic, and Okada used it, and then Kyle couldn't find it. So maybe we could like use that as like, I mean, obviously that was a year ago, 8 months ago at this point, but we never actually went back to that. We kind of just went to like, oh, Kyle and Okada are best friends now because Kyle's done with Takeshita. So who knows? But I do think that this match is likely to happen. All right. So for the better part of, I don't know, most of this year, we've been talking about the tag team title situation and where we kind of see it going. And it's always been a big ladder match between the 4 big teams in the company. FTR, Cope and Christian, the Young Bucks, and those 3. Sorry, not 4. 3. Those 3. Cope and Christian, Young Bucks, FTR. However, there was some big releases from that other company that we've been talking about a lot recently. Specifically 2 others that were very prominent tag teams. One of which just put out a video on social media teasing where they were going. And the other one who didn't want to take a pay cut and chose to leave.
Okay.
So I decided that instead of just having a ladder match triple threat, we'll have a ladder match 5-way tag team title match. Cope and Christian defending against the Young Bucks, FTR, Creed and Kofi, because I don't know what they'll be called, and the Motor City Machine Guns. I think it's pretty much happening that Creed and Kofi and Motor City Machine Guns are coming in. I mean, we haven't seen FTR since they finished their feud with Cope and Cage. But it hasn't really stopped AEW recently from just throwing people into title matches. Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta have never won a tag match, and they just got a tag title shot on Dynamite. So
against Cope and Cage at Redemption.
No,
was it Dynamite?
No, it happened on Wednesday.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, you know what? I missed it. I missed Dynamite.
Yeah, it happened on Wednesday. Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta, who have never won a tag match before, I don't even think they've had a tag match before as a duo, got a tag title shot. Just because Cope teamed with the Bang Bang Gang last week, not Christian, just Cope.
Yeah, okay.
And got beat up by the Death Riders and the Dogs. That's why Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia got a tag title match. But regardless of all of that, I imagine they will still be the champions going into All In, whoever they decide to face at Redemption, if they face anybody at Redemption. I think they're going to have a 2-on-2 match against the Young Bucks at Redemption, a standard tag match. And I mean, it's possible that the Young Bucks win that match and go into All In as the tag team champions because the Young Bucks have been in the background for pretty much everything that Cope and Christian have been doing for the last 3 months. And they were in the crowd watching them have their match against Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta. Oh, excuse me. And FTR, I'm sure, are going to be back for All In. And all of these WWE releases from May are going to be good to be signed somewhere else by beginning of August. So, Motor City Machine Guns, New Day, uh, you know, everybody, Kyrie, all of those people that left WWE at the end of May could seemingly debut in All In if they wanted to. Or they could be announced ahead of time. I think it would be better to have the surprises. Like, if we're going into All In and the match is only a triple threat, and then they do, like, you remember at WrestleMania 33, it was a fatal 4-way, and then they just threw the Hardys in there, and it was a giant pop. It would be something like that. But
yeah, I remember that.
But yeah, I think I'm very excited for both of these teams to come to AEW. And I think that if they have this match, honestly, I don't know who would win. I do know that Cope and Cage would not. I'm pretty sure they would lose. But I put it down as a ladder match. Everybody's been saying TLC, but AEW doesn't use that term usually. They could go to the ROH route and call it a ladder war. That
makes sense. That literally would be the most reasonable name because now they put in the survival of the fittest from which they took from ROH in AEW. Now why not ladder war? You can't use Full Metal Mayhem or stuff like that, but
yeah. All right, so that brings us to the two big ones that I think we all pretty much expect to happen. The women's title, we talked about it a little when we were talking about Tekla earlier. Willow Nightingale. So we talked about this at the end of the Forbidden Door show where they announced they started playing vignettes for Willow's return before they crowned a new TBS champion. And she came back literally a week after they crowned the new champion, returning inside of a casino gauntlet that they had on Dynamite to determine who would face Tekla on Redemption. And Willow was the last entrant to enter, and she was only in the match for like 3 minutes before she won. And yeah, I fully expect her to win against Tekla at Redemption to face Mercedes Moné, the winner of the Women's Owen Hart Cup, the first ever back-to-back winner, the first ever two-time winner. And I think that's where Mercedes finally wins the world title. I would like Willow to have a longer reign as the world champion, a whole month as the champion. I mean, but also it could be a bigger story for her to have to build back up to get it again. But yeah, I think this is the match. We talked about this when the finals happened, that we didn't see Tekla as the champion going in to face Mercedes because and people talk all the time about like, oh, you're not going to have a heel versus heel match at your biggest show of the year. That doesn't really bother me, but because Tekla's over, but that just isn't the match. She has history with Willow. She doesn't have
Yeah.
history with Tekla.
Well, they just kind of created that just recently.
Yeah.
Mercedes hired the Divine Dominion as
Yes.
her backup to face the Triangle of Madness, which would probably be a good match on like a Dynamite or a Collision, most likely a Dynamite.
Yeah.
Um, and then you could probably do like the Divine Dominion versus the Sisters of Sin for the tag titles, because those two never really got a title shot. And then you could just spin that off into like the Brawling Birds match you talked about at All In.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do think that it will be Willow versus Mercedes. I do think that Mercedes probably wins, finally wins the world title, and hopefully, uh, there's been a lot of teasing on social media about a certain somebody in WWE whose contract is coming up soon, who has a match with Lyra tomorrow.
Oh my.
Um,
Oh,
Bailey's been posting stuff. Mercedes has been posting stuff. I, I, I mean, it could still happen. I don't know if it'll happen. Like, I want it to happen. I really want it to happen, but who knows? Um, but yeah, Mercedes being the champion with that possibly looming is pretty cool, if you ask me. Um, yeah, so I do think. Do you expect Mercedes to win?
yeah, pretty much. Like your analysis is dead on, and it's like Willow had a big payoff win against Mercedes back when she won the TBS title at the what was that the final
The
Dynamite of the year, New Year's
Yeah,
Smash
New Year's
Part Two,
Eve.
or what?
New
New
Year's Eve.
Year's Eve. Yeah, oh yeah, you're right. It was New Year's Eve, like 2025, right?
Yeah,
So I mean, that was the most impactful win in terms of like beginning the death spiral that Mercedes lost all her titles, and
yep,
she just came back and it's like, oh yeah, you're not Ultimo Monet anymore. Okay, whatever. And then we just kind of accepted that. So yeah, it has to be like Mercedes needs her revenge win back, so it has to be at one of the biggest stages that they can possibly muster.
yep,
And her winning the Owen, it kind of like, yeah, it was the big payoff. Like, what else are you gonna do with it? I mean,
yeah, yeah. I mean, and we talked about this. I mean, like Mercedes wasn't even supposed to be in the Owen. She was an alternate of an alternate. Like
mhm.
Tony Storm was supposed to be in it, and she was supposed to win, and then she's gone for the rest of the year. Then Willow was supposed to win while being the TBS champion, and then she got hurt and wasn't hurt as bad as that they thought she was. So that's why she came back literally the week after they crowned a new TBS champion. I mean, arguably they took way too long to determine that, but uh, so Mercedes winning wasn't supposed to happen, but now that it has, it just makes sense that you put the belt on her here, finally giving her the world title, and she doesn't have to chase all these other secondary titles because she finally has the big title that she's always wanted to hold.
Mhm.
And yeah, I Willow and Mercedes always have good matches, so I'm excited to see that again. All right, so the final match obviously is the match that we all kind of saw coming from the last couple of months of booking. Uh, we talked about obviously we all knew that Will Ospreay was winning the Owen when Wembley was the place for All In again. We just didn't know who he would be challenging. And then it started to become more clear when Kenny and Osprey were having all of these back and forth conversations about being champion, and John Moxley would pop his head in and say something philosophical, And then it happened. Kenny Omega won the world title, as we spoke about earlier, on the Beach Break Dynamite. Hell of a match. One of the best world title matches on free television, probably ever. And yeah, so we're getting the third encounter. And we've talked about this multiple times. I mean, the first time that they faced in New Japan was at Wrestle Kingdom in Japan. The second time was at Forbidden Door in Canada. You were there. And the third time will be on Will's home turf. The last one, obviously, being on Kenny's home turf. And Will is going to win. Will is going to be the champion. And everything will be right with the world once again.
Well, you're very hopeful in thinking this. What if they just do some outside the box kind of booking and have Kenny retain somehow?
So I've been seeing people say that, and I don't think that's a very good idea.
I mean, I can understand your mindset. It was like, why that's not a very good idea, because it's like, how the hell? What else can you do to recover from this? Like, what else do you need Will Ospreay to do, right? Like, the most logical thing would be like Ospreay wins the title, the Death Riders come out to celebrate, but they all start looking weird and shit, and then they just attack him for like, Will, you've lost him, you've straight from half again. And I'm like, that's old crap again. I'm like, I've seen this all before. I kind of like Death Riders as being these tweeners in between, that they're like, baby faces for Will, but then heels with Gabe Kidd.
So an idea that I've heard thrown around, which I actually hope kind of happens, is Will wins the title, and Moxley loses his title.
Yes.
And then Will overtakes the Death Riders from Moxley, and then they turn on Moxley. And Will becomes the new leader of the Death Riders, and Moxley is ousted. I kind of want that to happen.
That would be interesting. That would be very interesting. Because we were wondering, like, at some point, like, is this is gonna break apart, because like they see Moxley as weak, but he hasn't demonstrated that. It's just because they consolidated their forces. Also, they added Will Ospreay.
Ospreay could be like, I used you guys to get here. And, I used Jon Moxley to get here, only to infiltrate his group and to get them to turn against him. Like, because we've been seeing how, like, Daniel Garcia and Will Ospreay are becoming, like, best friends. And, like, all the other members are accepting Will very prominently. Like, even on Dynamite this past week, Ospreay and Kenny Omega had a back and forth that was then interrupted by Kevin Knight that broke down into a fight, and then the Death Riders came out to back up Will Ospreay and in turn back up Kenny Omega, but they were really only there to protect Will Ospreay. And if Will Ospreay becomes the world champion and Jon Moxley loses the Continental Championship, it would make the most sense that Will Ospreay has gone out of his way to get in the good graces of every other member and listen to Moxley, even though he didn't agree with everything that Moxley was saying, and then gets Claudio, of all people, to turn on Moxley, because Claudio has always been the most loyal to Moxley. And that's how you get Moxley not only to finally take a vacation, but out of the Death Riders. I would honestly love for that to happen.
That's a very interesting scenario.
Yeah. I just think that it's a foregone conclusion that Will wins. Because again, and this is another kind of topic that we've kind of talked about a little but they need to stop going to Wembley. They need to. I mean, they went to Wembley every year except last year because they couldn't book it. They meant to go to Wembley again last year, but this is kind of turning into like what we talked about when Double or Nothing wouldn't leave Vegas, or when All Out wouldn't leave Chicago, even though it's going back this year. They can't just have All In the UK every year. They gotta have it at other places. Stop going to the same place every year. I feel bad that the UK doesn't get a WrestleMania. I feel really bad. They deserve it. They want one. But they've gotten All In every year except last year. Let's get All In some other city, some other town.
Yeah, I feel like they started in London because they wanted to reach that international market, right? But now that they've established themselves, like they can probably go back anytime they want. They should try to diversify this event. It's like with All Out, right? All Out was like in Chicago for the longest time, and then finally they moved it once to Toronto, and now I can't remember if All Out this year is also
going back. It's going back to Chicago.
Oh, great, fantastic!
yeah, I just said that it's going back to Chicago.
Yeah, so it's taking a lot of time for them to kind of.
I mean, it took them forever.
Maybe
to
it's
move
just
Double
easier.
Or Nothing.
I don't know.
It took them forever to move Double or Nothing until they drained the market of Las Vegas. Like nobody wants to go to Vegas on Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Like they had to move it. They were forced to move it. Like I understand that they like the fact that they can give the UK fans something big to strive to go see every year. But at the same time, they've gotten 3 All-Ins. Like, it's time to move it somewhere else after this year. They gotta make it like WrestleMania, where the way WrestleMania used to be, where they would go to some other big city and have all of their weekend events at that city. Like, they gotta. I mean, I'm not saying like don't go back to the UK ever again, but take 5 years off or something. Like, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, go to Florida, go to California, go to somewhere bigger in the US that isn't Texas. Canada. I mean, you know, Canada gets a lot of pay-per-views. But so does New York recently. So obviously, if All In is in New Jersey or New York, I am going to find every way possible to go when that happens. But yeah, that's my card that I put down for All In. I think obviously those 2 big world title match main events are pretty much likely to happen. So those really aren't predictions per se. I mean, I guess you can consider Willow versus Mercedes a prediction because it's not yet on paper, but it seems pretty obvious that it's happening. The women's tag title match, if they don't have like an extra team in there, I mean, they could always put Julia and Sky in a triple threat if they want. But either way, I think Divine Dominion and Brawling Birds will be in the match, obviously. And everything else, I hope that whenever I fantasy book something that I at least get 1 or 2 right. And that almost never happens. So,
well, I think this time you did because like Kenny versus Willow versus Mercedes. Or
I mean, we've been predicting. I will count Osprey versus Omega just because we've been predicting that for months. That's kind of been we've kind of seen the writing on the wall with that one. But yeah, everything else, I hope I get something right. But yeah, I obviously am very much looking forward to All In. Like I mentioned when we first started talking about this pit stop in Montreal just while I get it, you had to like AEW. It was very. I liked the fact for a long time that AEW didn't have a pay per view every month, and now they do. And
Yeah, wasn't things simpler when they did only 4 a year? Because Tony wanted to give fans like as much accessibility to their big time matches as possible on free TV, basically. So
yeah, well, and when you're having shows like Beach Break, why do you have to have a pay per view in between Forbidden Door and All In? Like, I don't think it was a good idea to have this July pay per view. While I understand why it's happening, like you just had Beach Break where you had a world title change
mm-hmm.
and a TBS title change, and like right before that on TV, like there's no reason to have this pay per view in between your two of your biggest shows of the year. Like you have Forbidden Door, you have All In, you have Double or Nothing, you have Revolution, you even have Full Gear. I like all these other shows. Like, I mean, I get World's End is now like the destination for the Continental Classic finals and all of that, but like Dynasty, why does that have to happen every year? Why, like some of these smaller shows that we talk about when they happen, and it's like these were a lot of great matches, but I didn't really expect a different result in pretty much all of them. And that's what Redemption's going to be.
Mm.
Every match is probably going to be very predictable because you're leading into your biggest show of the year, and you're not going to, other than Willow, change a title probably, and you're not going to have your TNT champion beat your world champion a month before your biggest show of the year. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to obviously review Redemption when it happens, and I predict that we're going to come into that show and we're going to be like, I mean, this show was fine, but I didn't really need it to happen. Like, so we'll see. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about in the coming weeks because we're going to have Redemption. After that, we're going to probably talk about this season of Dark Side of the Ring once it's over. I mean, it just started, but
Yeah.
we're probably going to talk about the latest season of Unreal like we do every year when it happens. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling I'm not going to enjoy that either. But we'll see. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we're gonna have to talk about in the coming months and weeks and leading up to All In, which I think is going to be a hell of a show, whether I predicted most of the card or not. So that is going to do it for us. Make sure to go to our Linktree / Going Over Big Time podcast, where it has all of the ways to watch and listen to this podcast, as well as social medias for me, Alan, and the podcast itself. And I am very excited for the future of professional wrestling as a whole. And yeah, I think it's going to be a good couple of months. In the summer is gonna keep getting bigger for wrestling. So that's going to do it for me. Alan, give us your closing thoughts.
Yeah, I thought today we took a quick reflection on like what happened with Sami Zayn. I thought what we said was realistic, and that just another example of just continuing, like, half-assery from WWE booking.
Mm-hmm.
The all in fantasy booking I thought were reasonable and also realistic. I think for the most part. Um, I'm not saying every match we've predicted will happen, but it's good to put it down as suggestions because
Yeah.
it may show up on it may happen on some other show. Who knows?
It's also
But for
very
now,
hard
yeah,
to. It's also very hard to predict entrance in a gauntlet match.
that's true, right? Because you never know who's going to show up.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh.
like freaking Don Callis could be an entrant for some reason.
Yeah. Finish your thought. Sorry.
But yeah, anyway, I'm just looking forward to other wrestling coming up. Lockdown's coming back on TNA, first time in like 10 years.
Jesus.
August 23rd in Chicago. Again, fucking. The entire card is contested inside a steel cage. Oh, okay. I've never seen that before, to be honest. I did
No.
not watch TNA back when they had that.
Oh yeah.
stipulation.
That
Yeah.
was when that was prime TNA time for me.
Yeah, that was during like when the Broken Hardys sort of first emerged as a.
Oh
thing.
no, that was way before.
Oh, okay, no, I meant. Okay, you know what? Yeah, you're right. You're right. I was saying the last time they did a lockdown was in 2016,
Yeah.
which was around this time I kind of picked up on TNA because of the Broken Hardy stuff. But
Yeah.
other than that, yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, that's all I got.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for us, everybody. Thank you. Have a good one.